Welcome to Crashing Game Night. My name is Matt Diorio. Tonight, Barrett Wallace himself, voice actor John Bentley, is crashing Game Night with us. I welcome in my co-host, as always, Gerard Barrera.
What up, nerds?
I also welcome in our version of Biggs and his coupon discount dinner of the week from Jack in the Box, Jason Bolidio.
How's it going?
How's everyone doing tonight?
Doing very well, thank you.
Doing good.
John, welcome to Crashing Game Night.
Thank you, fellas. Thank you very much. What's up, everybody?
Big John, what's going on, baby?
How you doing, John? How's life out there in LA treating you? I know you've been pretty busy lately with all the different gigs you got going on.
It's busy, man. I mean, aside from running and working and doing everything with work, I got 4 boys and a wifey, and we just moved into a new place, and so I'm just getting adjusted. I think everybody has been in the pool except for me.
Oh, that was going to be my next question. How you dealing with the heat?
Hey, man, our heat is nothing like what's happening in the Midwest right now. I'm praying for folks over there.
Oh, yeah, totally true.
In New York as well, Yeah.
It's so crazy this year. We're getting so many record highs.
Yeah, it's nuts.
We're lucky. We're only going to be in the mid 90s this weekend, but we had a stretch there where the heat index was like 105, 100.
Man.
But it hasn't been terribly bad. I mean, our humidity's been up a little bit, but
folks are getting hit like Arizona all over. It's nuts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but we've had our troubles too. Like, it's been kind of sunny for a little too long, or we had a little bit of too much heat.
I'm from the Midwest, man. I do not throw dirt on my people because they get mad at me. I get phone calls.
Oh no! I always throw shade to the guys, like to Theo and Matt, when I have like kind of a hot day, and
fun.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there chilling out in a hoodie, and a beanie,
on the lovely West Coast.
Right.
So. All right, so let's just dive into news really quick, and then we'll get into what John's really here to talk about, which everybody's excited for, which is Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yes.
So let's start off the news with touching base on a topic we had last week with the tragic shootings in Dayton and El Paso. Walmart's taken upon themselves to remove all violent game ads, but they gave a direction to the store managers at their discretion. So a lot of store managers actually pulled games from their store shelves as well and did not make them available to the public. However, that being said, they're still keeping up their gun displays. So to me, you know what? For them to make the arbitrary decision that, hey, a Call of Duty poster that isn't showing anybody getting shot or anything is violent and pull down all the games, I think that's a bad precedent. Now, if Walmart...
I think a few of those managers made it worse by pulling the games. I think obviously people are going to notice that than posters.
It depends. It depends on if they're players or not. You know what I mean? I mean, you got to remember some of the stores, the department stores, they cater towards families. Mm-hmm. So you'll have parents in there who aren't gamers who I understand what they're saying, but in the same sense, man, if it's not showing violence in the poster, I mean, what? We already know what they are.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, more people are gonna notice, like, wow, these aisles are way more empty. Like, what happened? Other than the posters, but I just think, I mean, it was overkill, I think, but
some people are thinking that it might be true what the rumor is going around Walmart is that's looking at getting rid of gaming altogether in their stores because it's not making them really any money anymore, and they can use that for better real estate.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, I'd rather do that than cause the craziness of we're going to pull this. I mean, it's almost like the whole gender bathroom thing. It's just everybody wants to be PC.
Yeah.
But I bet you if they do, man, I know GameStop is going to be pumped up if they do.
Oh yeah,
right.
Go through the roof.
Actually, that would I think that would help both stores because for one, Walmart is known to have just basic stuff. Yeah. So when it comes to gaming, a lot of gamers are specific. They have certain things and accessories that they want, and you can't, like, I would never think to go to a Walmart to find a specific, like, game accessory or game. So I think if they expanded, more space to something that sells more, and of course that's one big chain closed and GameStop's still around.
Yeah, and all Walmarts don't have. They don't have. All of them don't. Out here, at least, only specific ones have ammo and arms and stuff like that. You know, not all of them out here carry weapons and firearms.
All the ones out here do.
Really?
I find it interesting though that they're taking down like those that were like violent, quote unquote, distractions, and I get that's fine, but I mean like the old Call of Duty posters would literally be just a soldier, you know.
That's all.
Yeah.
Or a silhouette.
A silhouette of a soldier, and if you're gonna take that down, you know, like. What are you gonna go next? Are you gonna go for the like Navy and the Army ads that they have up there as well? Because I mean, they have a soldier like on the cover as well.
Yeah.
Like, are you gonna attack the Army? And
that's
you can't really do that. Then you start having like this discrimination bout.
Yeah. I'll tell you what's funny to me. I love certain Super Nintendo games, certain Nintendo games. Period. I still have my Nintendo game because I loved Tecmo Bowl and
you do.
Computer.
Do you have a Switch, John?
Nice.
I mean, that was just the bomb. But what's funny to me is that I remember when my boys were younger, they always, Daddy, I want Super Smash Brothers. Daddy, I'm like, oh, what is Super Smash Brothers? Played it, fell in love with it, but I ain't gonna lie, that's a violent game.
Yeah, it is.
When you got to pull off the side of it, it's a violent game. So, you know, it's a tough call, man. But if Walmart's going to do it, I don't know, maybe they should just take their gaming out, you know, expand their computers and televisions and, you know, everything else.
Yeah.
Leave it to GameStop and folks who cater to gamers.
Mm-hmm. Now,
and who also take the responsibility, like especially GameStop.
Oh, GameStop takes it seriously.
Yeah, especially the responsibility to selling like mature games. To younger kids. There you go. That's just helping that whole problem as well.
Right.
So, John, funny you mentioned Super Nintendo because I didn't put this in the news, but it came out just this week that somebody came across a patent for a Super Nintendo controller from Nintendo that is following along the lines of the NES controller for the Switch.
Really?
So it is now firing up a lot of rumors that they may be prepping for SNES games coming to the Switch.
The old box one or the rounded gray one?
The rounded one, you know, the rounded gray one with the purple buttons.
Hold on.
That Nintendo licensed.
A Nintendo licensed one.
Like a wireless controller?
Yeah, kind of like, you know how they have the NES controllers that only the Nintendo Online subscribers can get?
Yeah.
Super Nintendo version of that.
Can you see what I'm putting on my screen?
Not at the moment.
No.
Might be on audio only.
No, I think you have to press the green camera button.
Where's the green camera button? It's got a big X through it. Oh, there it is. Hey.
There he is.
We go.
There we go. The whole time and you didn't tell me you didn't see me? Here.
Hey,
like that thing?
Yeah.
Similar to that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Similar
to that, but it'll be the official Nintendo brand.
Look, I had to go out and get this. They got this crazy game that I used to play called Bass and Black Bass.
Wow. That is old school.
Softball.
Yeah.
And just crazy stuff. My wife got mad at me when we first got married because she came in from work one night and I was playing Bass and Black Bass on the Super Nintendo. It may have been Sega. Can't remember. I was playing on one of them. And the next time she came back in the room, she was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I said, "Man, I got a 25-pound one."
Okay, you talk about that. That's Jerry and Red Dead Redemption right now because it is something we'll be like, "Hey, come play with us." No, I'm fishing.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man.
I totally get what you mean, and I have said that out loud to where my roommate has like, "Are you okay?"
Yep. My wife said, "What are you doing?" I said, I'm playing. I got this 25-pound. Do you think I should keep it?" She said, "You do whatever you need to do." I said, "Well, baby, where are you going?" She said, "I'm going to work."
Oh, man.
Oh, you mean it's the next day? She's like, "Yeah." That was back in the day when first year of marriage, and I was like, well, I'm waiting for the phone to ring so I can go out and work.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm hoping that they do bring the Super Nintendo games to the Switch because it's already on the 3DS XL. So why not bring them to the Switch?
Might as well. There's a lot of
it's on the top of the list of all gamers say what they request of the Switch is
Super Nintendo,
Super NES, and
GameCube,
Nintendo 64.
Oh,
it
GameCube
sure would
too.
help the brand.
GameCube. Yeah.
It would help the brand. Big time.
Yeah. So talking about brands wise, everybody knows that Ninja has left Twitch for Mixer. Over the weekend, Twitch got themselves in some hot water though, because they're piloting a new program to where when a Twitch streamer is offline, they'll recommend other like channels. Well, they kind of used Ninja's channel to recommend a streamer that was streaming porn that was tagged for Fortnite. And Ninja's state channel is geared towards all ages, so the potential for kids to see hardcore.
But you know what? That's karma. That's on Twitch.
Yeah, absolutely. I really feel for Ninja. He was really professional about the whole split. He just did it. It was just in the better interest of him. He was looking to grow beyond Twitch and stuff. I mean, he had millions of followers.
Yeah.
On Twitch. So, I mean, he was very professional. He never knocked him or anything until this happened. And he's like, kind of funny. I leave. You guys use my channel, your number one channel, to promote this, and ends up potentially damaging his brand. So, I know for me, this combined with how they handled the whole Dr. Disrespect thing for E3, I don't see myself really going to Twitch unless there's a specific person I need to use, because we have YouTube, that we can use for streaming and stuff. And we've been uploading a lot of our videos, especially from E3, to our YouTube channel. So honestly, I've got YouTube. I don't really need Twitch.
I'm learning about social media. And I just had this conversation with my 17-year-old son. I said, son, sometimes I get so excited about what I'm doing, especially with Final Fantasy VII, that I tweet something out and it wasn't supposed to be tweeted out. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm learning about it, but I'm telling you, there's so many different engines that are out there right now. So many hackers. And my son was like, hey, Dad, there's a hackers convention. I'm like, So it's just crazy how that you never know how it's going to go down.
Yeah.
Sad.
Exactly. So it is sad. Twitch has kind of apologized and they changed their policies, but
did they take the thing down? I mean, if
kids they did take it down, but they don't know who all watched it.
Oh,
but they know
how long was it up?
And who's that was my question.
It was up for 2 hours. So
somebody saw something.
The streamer that was putting it up there though has been permanently banned from Twitch. But that being said, it's a little too late for that. One thing that's in the last little bit of news too is Microsoft came out this week in an interview and said that their newly acquired first-party studios like Obsidian, the Initiative is hiring all sorts of who's who in the gaming industry, could put their first-party games out on the Switch and PlayStation depending on the situation. So I think this goes right to Phil Spencer's, hey, everybody plays.
Wow. So
I would love to see, Xbox first-party titles right on the Switch or the PlayStation.
Yeah.
That's interesting. What is
That's
the
a bold
game?
Move, too.
Is that Fable included? Because Fable was specifically just for the Xbox, wasn't it?
Well, there is a rumored Fable reboot, potentially out there. We know that the new Halo is in the works.
Wow.
Obsidian, you've got Obsidian with doing Outer Worlds, which is already slated for a same day PlayStation release and a Switch release months after that. You've got Double Fine, who makes Psychonauts. They were just newly acquired by Microsoft right there about E3.
Wait a second. All this is going to be possibly played on PlayStation?
Potentially, yes.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Absolutely. And I think, honestly, what would be even better is if Sony kind of turned around and did the same thing with...
Sony ain't going to do that with Uncharted and
Oh, no. But I think if you really want to make money and you want to keep your, your studios and everything going and in the limelight, you might need to do something like that.
Yeah, I agree with certain titles.
Also to kind of keep the peace, if Microsoft is kind of making that move, it's only in mutual respect if Sony does it. And I mean, to a degree, because John, I totally agree. The one thing Sony does is take pride into their stories and their games.
Oh,
yeah.
So, I mean, it's when they promote like a game like Final Fantasy, obviously they didn't just think of a game. No. They were like, we see this is obviously a franchise.
Epic.
Epic, movies coming out. So,
and which is funny though, if you know the history of Final Fantasy though, is if Nintendo had gone with a CD-based system for the N64, we would never have seen it on the PlayStation.
Never. Yeah. Ever, because it would have been cartridge-based.
Yeah.
I was just looking at that.
That's crazy, because that is how it started, right?
It went cartridge-based, and then and then Nintendo decided to go cartridge-based for the N64. Square Enix wanted to move things forward.
It was Square.
Square said, you know what? We want to do disc. Yeah. You don't want a part of this.
Yep.
Let's go. And then PlayStation was like, here you go.
Yep. That's why Sega did so well when it popped out, because they did the same. Dude,
the Dreamcast was before its time.
Oh, big time.
That was.
It was, and
I still think today that rivaled N64.
No.
But
I feel like
GameCube, and that was their little disc, but it was too.
You know what? You're right. I think it rivaled GameCube.
Dreamcast, had it come out maybe a couple years later.
Oh yeah, it would have been one of the biggest consoles.
I don't even think that. I think if they didn't botch the launch, because we got to remember is nobody knew about the Dreamcast until E3, and then they said, hey, guess what? It's in stores today.
That's true. It did. There was no announcement.
So there was no reviews of the system ahead of time.
Yeah,
nobody knew about the games. None of that stuff. It was like, hey, here you go.
All the normal stuff that they do now. Like that's around the time when they're learning this stuff. It's crazy.
And what hit for them? Their biggest hit was it Sonic?
On the system, I would say
Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Marvel vs. Capcom.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Soul Calibur.
Smoothest it got to bring home. We were still dropping quarters back then.
Yeah, that went into system, and I remember grabbing it, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, I
wasn't that one of the first consoles to introduce memory cards because they had those digital slots?
No, so you had. So it was the VMUs.
VMUs.
The Nintendo or the PlayStation 1 still had memory cards, but
that's right.
But what it was is that they were pretty much memory cards with Tamagotchis in them.
Yeah. You could play a little game. You could play a little game.
You could play a little game right on it too.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, and they had network ports on them too.
I'm older than y'all. What you know about all this?
Yeah.
John,
we're gamers, man. We went through those generations
Straight
too.
Up fanboy.
John, you don't have that many years on me.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, well, we won't say all that stuff because
we'll say that but no, for me, I go back to Intellivision 2. That was my first console.
Well, I go back to Intellivision.
Yeah.
He got you, baby.
We're talking little Burger Time, a little Tron, a little baseball, and the little keypad.
I'm talking about stick figure basketball on Atari.
Yep. Oh yeah.
2600.
Oh yeah, that's way back there. So
yeah, I'm sorry, guys.
Kid, so
Nintendo
let's
Nintendo.
Talk about that career of yours here.
Transition. See that, Jay? See that, Jay?
And John, in honor of your appearance, I am rocking the Chocobo Cross.
Oh, hey man, I gotta learn that dance. I do. Y'all laughing? That's a fun dance. I'm gonna learn that dance.
So let's look at everything. So you went to the University of Minnesota.
Yes, sir.
And you played football, more specifically wide receiver for the team from 87 to 92.
Yep.
Doing school. So what got you into acting while you were playing football?
It wasn't, how do I put it? Okay, so my mom was an educator. She was a teacher. My dad worked in the steel mill. Mm-hmm. And my mom, I'll never forget, 5 years old, I would say, hey, Mom, what does this mean? I would see a word and say, what does this mean? She'd say, baby, you got to learn to read. No, 4 years old. 4 years old. She said, you got to learn to read. And I said, well, you've taught me how to read. I know how to read. She said, then look it up. And I'm like, what? I'm 4 years old. But she had 2 bookshelves of two different kind of encyclopedias and Britannica encyclopedias and 5 dictionaries in every place in our little apartment where we grew up in Chicago. So every time I asked a question, she'd say, look it up, look it up. So I would go and I would look it up. So at one point,
that's
just got caught up reading. That's why I stress to my boys all the time. Reading will change your whole outlook on the world because you can communicate. You're not afraid to communicate. You know words, and you can speak, regardless of where you grow up. I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and I remember people saying, hey, man, you're proper. I'm like, proper? What does that mean? You know, and it was like, because I read, I could speak, and, you know. Mm-hmm. So, because she taught me how to read at a very young age, in kindergarten, they said, hey, we want to do a show. So it's like a talent show or something. I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't want to get in front of people. And she said, the teacher said, we need someone to do the Martin Luther King I Have a Dream speech. And I'm like, what? I can do that. My mom showed me who Martin Luther King was. And I read all about Martin Luther King. And blah, 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 blah. She said, okay.
Oh, my God.
And I'm like, memorize? What does that mean? They're like, just everything that you read, commit it to your memory and say it. I'm like, oh, okay. Mom's an educator. Memorized the whole speech, got up and did the speech, didn't think anything of it. I'm just like, this is a cool man. I want to, do this at 5 years old. Did it. And then everybody in the audience, because of where I went to school on the west side of Chicago, it was where a lot of the riots happened and a lot of the looting happened in the heart of it. So where we presented the speech was on a stage at a church where a lot of things had happened around it. And I did it, and I saw how it moved the moms and the dads and the grandmas. And I went, what I just said, what? Oh, that's pretty powerful. But it scared me because everybody stood up, clapped, and gave a standing ovation. Scared the heck out of me. Come. But you're on a stage. They can't break the fourth wall. So I went, hey, this is pretty cool. And that's what happened to me when I was in kindergarten. So I got a bug for it, but I never knew you could actually do it. Later down the line, all through middle school, I was on stage and imitating Marvin Gaye and singing Sam Cooke. And even one talent show, I did Elvis. And people were like, hey, little black Elvis, Brought Elvis to the hood is what I call it. Nice. Costume. My mom was a seamstress as well. And I just liked how it moved people, how it made people happy, or it gave people joy, or it made people sing. It just made people forget about their circumstances at the time to just sit down and enjoy and hang and deal and, and so I appreciated that and went on to do it in high school, debate team, declarative speaking, all these different things, liked it. But in football, because I had a scholarship, you're not allowed to be on camera. You're not allowed to do any of that stuff because you are basically, So it's a breach of your contract for your scholarship as a football player. The minute I was done playing football, I was able to then, my degree was in speech, English, and theater. So I would do that outside of when I was done with football. I was able to get on camera and do infomercials, stuff like that. And then someone said, hey, you can get another scholarship. I'm like, what are you talking about, another scholarship? I'm done after this 5 years of playing football. Said, no, you can get another scholarship for your master's degree. I'm like, what? Mom will be happy. She's an educator. Wound up getting more offers for theater school for my master's than I did for football, like 14 or 17 offers for theater. And through
That's awesome. That's
program,
amazing.
Yeah, and then wound up doing that, and here we are.
And this is why teachers are so important.
Yeah, you got somebody to believe in you, and you got, especially if your mom's a teacher, but I had so many teachers along the way to come alongside and push.
A lot of support, yeah.
And not just push, but pull things out of me that I didn't know existed. And, with a milestone birthday, and I credited that to a lot of my teachers and people around me. And I grew up around educators, my uncles, my aunts, all educators. And two of my uncles, the reason I'm able to do, I'll jump into this segue for you, so much Nick Fury stuff is because one of my uncles is a soft-spoken side of how Sam Jackson does Nick Fury. And then one of my other uncles is the hardcore Sam Jackson.
The Tarantino side.
Sam Jackson.
So,
Uncle Shannon is softcore. Uncle John is the hardcore Nick Fury, and he's alive today, and credit that to him.
Perfect segue on that because, that is one of my questions for you. How does it feel to be the voice of Nick Fury, not only in the video games, which, one of the latest ones released was Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, which Jerry is obsessed with right now. How does it feel to be the voice of Nick Fury for almost a decade now between animated movies and games?
I didn't know it was a decade. I mean, I'm old. Not teasing. But it's an honor because Jackson is one of the guys. First of all, I'm a comic book head. I still got all my comic books out in my garage from when I was a shorty. And but Sam Jackson is an incredible guy. Top actor. But I'll never forget when he first came out. No part was too small. And Sam Jackson, I remember him saying or quoting or reading something about longevity in this business. It's not about the job that you got. It's about the longevity of creating your character and being a character, or how much will you work within the realm of what we do. And I just caught that from him. And if you look at his body of work, man, he didn't.
Oh my God.
He owned it. Every role he did, he owned it. And in the beginning of his career, Sam Jackson was never that same guy, but he brought that same to it. So he and Denzel, Morgan Freeman, all those cats, man, just there's so many other ones that I look up to. Just incredible. But it's an honor to answer your question. It's a privilege beyond privilege. It's awesome. It's awesome. And I'm not the person all the time, but I sure would like to be. He's a bad dude. That's one guy I really, really, really want to meet. Denzel was another one. I got to meet him, was in awe. And Sam Jackson is one of those dudes, man. He's creative. He saves movies. If you go back and watch certain films, he saves them.
Snakes on a plane.
Hey. Out of everything that happened in that movie, who do you remember?
Sam Jackson.
Sam Jackson. Yeah.
Exactly.
The movie.
No, that's what I'm saying.
He really did, yeah.
When you talk about saving movies, it's like, it is him. I mean, he's been turned into a meme. He's been turned into quotes, for that one role. So
no one says nothing like him.
So let's look at your body of work, though. I mean, you've got all the different, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. You've been in, Spider-Man Unlimited, Avengers Confidential, Lego Marvel Superheroes, but you've played additional voices in some very big franchises too. Saints Row.
Yeah.
Ghost Recon.
Yeah.
Infamous 1 and 2. Yeah. Last of Us.
Oh yeah, classic.
Black Ops 4.
Yeah.
Nice. Which I gotta ask you, because it's not even listed on IMDb. Who were you in Black Ops 4? Were you just additional voices, or did you actually voice a character?
So I can't remember what I did. I did a couple of them, but there's a headset that came along with it, right? And if you plug in the headset, you'll hear me speak, and I'm the operative. And so you'll hear.
Oh, sweet!
Wow.
Have my headset for the character that I am in that. You plug that thing, it's like, are you ready? Let's go.
Oh, that is cool.
Awesome.
So whoever that character is.
Nice. Okay.
I can't remember the name anymore.
You were in Halo Guardians.
Yeah.
Uncharted 4.
Yeah, that Uncharted series was one of my favorite games ever.
Man, I love it.
I was a priest in that.
I would say, you want to talk about Uncharted? You should see my office. I have just statues for Uncharted and everything. And
that game
Jerry knows
incredible.
It's an addiction.
My oldest son is hooked.
So you bet.
Pick up any Uncharted game. He made me go out when we got a PS3 or PS4. He made me go out and get the box set.
Oh yeah, dude.
Already got it.
Oh yeah.
So you've been in Spider-Man.
Yes.
Which was a fantastic game from Insomniac. Yeah. Jerry's favorite game, Red Dead Redemption.
Man.
Kingdom Hearts 3. You look at movies.
Kingdom Hearts, yes.
You've been in Resident Evil and Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen.
Mila Jovovich, I've never ever worked with anyone that's first of all a supermodel for real.
Yeah.
Yep.
But her heart, she's one of the toughest women. There are several people that I've worked with. Mila is someone who just I learned from because we were shooting, I think it was 110, 120 degree weather. We're all in makeup and prosthetics. We're in this little tent, and she said, "Hey, I want to make sure all the extras are okay," because there were people outside of the gate playing zombies in full-on gear. She went out with a box of water to everybody who was out there.
Wow.
Made sure they were okay. And I'm like, this is the star of the show.
Yeah.
Her business, cool. Making sure everybody's okay. And that taught me how to do it right, in our profession and what we do.
And there's a lot of actors that wouldn't do that.
No, a lot.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
She was pregnant at the time, and she was training after we would shoot. She'd go and train for the fight scenes.
Which, speaking of which, congratulations to Mila and Paul W.S. Anderson on. She just announced that she's pregnant again.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So,
congratulations.
Here's well wishes for a healthy baby, because after you do hit a certain age, there's a lot of complications that can come with it. So.
Yeah.
But then let's look at some of the TV shows. Like, let's highlight. So you were Tiger's Eye and Sailor Moon.
Yeah. Fun role.
And I went back and listened to a couple of clips. I cannot hear your voice in that character.
You can't.
I can't really, but I think that's because I've got Barrett in my mind. I've got the voice of Barrett, and I'm trying to piece that together with Tiger's Eye. And it doesn't match up. But
Bro,
you were in.
We do what we do.
Exactly. You were on Third Rock from the Sun.
Oh yeah,
one of my favorite shows.
Oh man, such a classic show.
Classic show.
Yeah.
That whole
You've been on.
Incredible.
You've been on Days of Our Lives.
Yeah.
Nice.
You have been on both Firefly and Castle, so you've been able to work with Nathan Fillion a couple of times.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
You've worked with some of the biggest comedic names out there with Steve Harvey. Martin Lawrence.
Yep.
Jamie Foxx.
Incredible dude.
D.L. Hughley.
DL, yeah, that was fun too.
Dang, all the Kings of Comedy.
So
yeah.
Which do you like more? Do you like doing the voice acting, or do you like actually being in front of the camera with these guys?
My wife just asked me that. Being in front of the camera is hard because you got to get cast. Not that you don't have to in voice, work too, but you got to go through a series. It's different from how it was when I did a lot of those shows. You can go in and be the best in the room and get the job. Nowadays, you can be the best in the room and it doesn't matter. If nepotism sometimes runs deep, sometimes people already have in mind, producers and, networks, they already have in mind who they want. There's a lot of different things in the pot that you have to get through to be on a series or a show now. There's a lot you have to do. I wish I could just go on my reputation and the things that I've done in the past, and people say, hey, we remember him. He can do this, this, and this. But, sometimes it's out of sight, out of mind, and sometimes they've got other agendas. It's always been that way, but usually I could go into a room, knock it out, and the people, who is that? That's what we want to. Now it's different. It's different. And I can't blame it on age or anything like that. It's different.
It's a different time. You look at the movies too. It's like we all talked about it too. Is I think for me the last good decade for really good classic movies is like the 80s, which they seem to keep wanting to remake. And it's like, but they want to do it in a certain image, right?
For me, it was the 80s and
early
variations
90s.
Of the 90s.
Yeah.
Yes, variations.
We had some great, really pushing the envelope and expanding the mind films
why, Jay?
And TVs.
You know why, though? It's because we told stories.
Yeah.
Always a beginning, a middle, and an end. We didn't think that we had to gouge the audience's eyes and ears with explosions and car scenes and pretty girls, and we actually were able to tell a story. And if those little things came in it, it just sweetened it. You know what I mean?
And we talk about that as like one of my favorite movies from that era growing up is Power of One.
Oh yeah, good movie.
Sorry, Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
You know, and it told the story of the apartheid.
Yeah. Mine is what was
Which
it?
one? So yeah, Power of One. So it told the story of the apartheid down in South Africa.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it was
with
Stephen Dorff.
Young Stephen Dorff. That's right. Yeah. Mine was Shawshank. But the one thing I was gonna ask you, John, because I get this, I hear this a lot in like interviews and just review videos that some of our favorite movies, like yours and mine, like in the 80s and 90s, would not have gotten made today.
Oh no. I just did transcribing. Yeah. I just did transcribing for the blind for Animal House. Animal House was a classic when I was in high school. Classic. To this day, it's a classic.
Yeah. I grew up on that too.
Something like that today?
Nope.
Man,
it was too mild. It wasn't as like that. That's what made it classic, though. But I think it's too mild, and it doesn't have too much shock value in the movie.
Oh no, I thought the same thing. Go back and watch Animal House.
Honestly, I don't think Goonies would have been made in this day and age.
I do. I think they would.
I don't think so either.
You think so?
They would PC'd it out.
Well, for me,
it would have 80'd it out. You know, like Stranger Things. But
yeah.
Animal House, literally, I was like, oh, Animal House, cool. That was a classic. Ha ha ha. I went in and transcribed. I'm like, oh wow, they're doing it on the. Oh wait a minute, they just bottle at a girl. There's so many things in it that today, every scene, once you get to the frat house, there's a red flag in it today.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I agree with you. Goonies probably wouldn't have gotten done. I mean, Chunk, an iconic character, PC will say you can't do.
Oh yeah.
Data.
I mean.
Yeah. Big time.
Oh yeah.
If that's the case. Indiana Jones.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Same thing. There's a lot. Now, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of things that shouldn't have been done then, the way they were done. You know, but let's go back to if you want to go back, and there's some cartoons that we can't.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Everybody's pushed the envelope.
Oh yeah.
Day and time. You know.
I mean, come on. You go back and you rewatch Animaniacs, for instance. Talking about the 90s, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about a case for sexual harassment with them and the nurse,
bro?
You know,
and that's just the opening credits.
Right? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is. There's a lot. So you have to be wise in what you create, and you have to be crafty in what you create. And me personally, I think that's a good thing because now as a creator and as a writer, you got to think. You have to write. You have to know your history, and you have to do what's right. And not only that, you got to work. And a lot of folks, they don't want to work.
Yeah.
Yep. Do you think though that it limits creativities at some points, or like
that was exactly my next question.
You can't.
To me, I think it sparks it because now you have to come from a different angle. So how do you do that? And
that's true. Okay,
it's just sitting and talking. If I say, "Yo, Matt, let's make a movie," and you go, "Okay," and we brainstorm and go, I don't think. But then we go, "Hey Jay, we need you on board. Hey Jay, we need you on board too." Now we got four people saying, "Hey, let's be creative. Let's come together and what do you think this culture would? What do you?" And you got to think about it. You can't be like, "Nah, I don't care what they do." Really?
Yeah, you got it. You got to worry about that. So let's talk about some passionate work for you, because I know from us talking, and I mean, heck, your Twitter account lately talks about it, is your love for Final Fantasy.
Love that game.
7 is what got you into it. How does it feel to be playing Barrett in the remake of your favorite RPG?
Unreal. So Final Fantasy VII came out a year after I got married, played it like crazy, and was just like, how is this a video game? oh my gosh, it's reading. Once again, like I said, how my mom brought me up. I get to read this text. Okay, all those, they're cursing when they do all those little symbols. All right, I get it. I'm like, oh, it's a black guy. And then the first thing was like, he's going to die in the middle of this. If not the beginning, he's going to die. And he didn't. And Barrett didn't. And he's like wilding out, but he's also the voice of reason. He's the head of Avalanche. And he, in a weird kind of way, is controlling Cloud. And Cloud's like, no, I'm not having it. And he's like, okay, I won't control him, but let's corral him. It's just classic. It's iconic. And that wasn't happening. But that was also during the time when Mr. T had just finished doing A-Team. He's doing that. I'm like, that's what it would have looked like if Mr. T had more control. So many things. But I'll never forget playing that game and my wife going, what is that? The art is so cool. Because even though it was a picture and they were zooming in on Midgar, you see lights and you see the smoke and you see people moving and you're like, what is that? It's an epic game. 2 discs, man.
Yeah.
No, it's 3 discs.
Three. Yeah.
You're seeing all going. It's like, oh my gosh.
So, I mean, 3 discs. The 3rd disc was really just the last like little part of the game, but it was revolutionary.
You had to plug that bad boy in to finish it.
Yeah. Yep.
But no,
hey, you've reached the end of the disc. You want to save before you change discs?
Right. Okay. Better. But no, to answer your question, I know a lot of the fans, a lot of the people on Twitter, some people think that it's not me writing, and I'm just as excited as everybody else. You talk about an honor to do a game like that, of that vastness, and I get to play that character. I just want to do him justice. I know there's fans who grew up with it like me, and Barrett didn't have a voice until Bo Billingsley, who was a brilliant actor, who I've met on several occasions that have become friends with. He's a good dude, man. But I was like, well, I can't do it like that. I got to do it like this, and I want to do it this way, but how do I blend it? And, so many things are going through my mind, but I just wanted to give them justice because the creators of the game, it's their world that they've created. And now being able to bring it to this generation. Whew.
And this level of detail that they're planning on doing.
What's that?
The level of detail that they're planning on doing with the backstory and bringing that to life. And
have you seen the art that they've been releasing?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's for real, man.
Yeah.
They need to stop. Because it's like you've got that addiction. You've got that addiction, right? And it's like that. It's like the dealer, right? He's like, here's a little bit, here's a little bit, here's a little bit, and it's like I'm already addicted. Just give me the stuff already.
You sound like this generation who wants who gives the trailer to the film, which I think trailers suck nowadays. They show too much of the film, right?
I
and then you
highly agree.
Film, and you're like, oh, well, so they're just giving you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you're supposed to do it.
Oh, I know, but it's just like I don't want to wait until March for this. I want it now.
Good. You're longing.
Oh yeah. Oh, we've been waiting for this we've been waiting for it since they did the tech demo on the PS3.
Bro,
and said, hey, this is kind of out there.
Until a year before I had the audition, I was like, oh, it's coming back. That's great. I can't wait to get it.
Mm-hmm. So how did it
audition for it?
Right. How did it feel when you got that phone call to say you're Barrett?
So Rita, who is our casting director for the show, she knows how much I was calling every week. Hey, did they hear it yet? Hey, do we get this? Hey, what do they need? What do they need? And she said, John, I just need to talk to you. And she texted me first, like, I just need to call you and make sure, you're okay. And I'm like, what? So I'm like, oh, I didn't get it. And so I called her. She said, are you sitting down? Because I don't want you to be upset in any way. I'm like, yeah. I'm sitting down.
No.
And I'm sitting down. I'm like, hold on for a minute. I'm really going to sit down. The way you're talking, I got to the bathroom. I got to the toilet. You got it. I'm like, what? Oh, I'm running around the house. My wife's like, what is wrong with you? We got Barrett. She's like, oh my God, you got Final Fantasy. And I'm like, yeah, I got it. And my sons are all coming out like, what's wrong with y'all? I'm excited.
That's awesome, man.
So I got to ask you, because
how excited I am about this project.
Your son was in the demo, that we were all in.
That's right.
How did he take playing Final Fantasy VII and actually being able to play the character his dad was voicing.
So I should have him come in here. He's right in the next room.
I mean,
John,
for you itself too. How is it like actually playing yourself in that demo? Like,
so Matt will tell you what happened. We're in the room together, and I didn't know what was going on. And the guy announces, "Hey, you know, the character of Barrett is sitting with us." I'm like,
yeah,
you know, I'm like,
oh, he straight threw him under the bus. He's like,
oh yeah,
and he's like pointing, like, here you go, spotlight's on you, and you're like, dude, honestly, it was like one of those things. Looking at you, you're like, almost like.
Because I'm not
hi, you know,
I'm not more like, here I am to save the day. That's not me.
No,
but
and
he did that, and so Matt's like, I turn and I see everybody like clapping. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess it's all right. So this is what's crazy, man. We go into this big room to play the demo, and my son's with me, and I'm looking around at everybody and all these screens. And I said, go ahead, son, play. And I watched him for about 2 minutes. He said, you don't want to play? I'm like, this is surreal. It's like everybody in this room's playing with me and Cody. You know, those are the only two characters, me and Cloud. Cody, who's playing Cloud. And I just said, you play, I want to walk around and watch people. And I got so much joy out of seeing folks happy to play this game that they've been waiting for forever. Oh, yeah. Even the babies who had only heard about it word of mouth. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this is unreal. And so I just got so filled up just watching people, man. And, you know, then everybody's like, hey, you want to take a picture? Matt came out and said, you want to take a picture? Yeah. Like, I think you were the first one.
Yeah.
You know, he was. Yeah, he was the first one.
Sure.
And we gotta tell you, John, like that made that demo all the more special. Because coming from us too, man, speaking for myself, Final Fantasy VII was one of my first, like, RPG games, but like I took the time to finish the game. Yeah. I enjoyed the story. For me, I immediately pictured a movie. You know, it opened my creativity, and I just always loved that game, and it was always one of my top 10 favorites. Yeah. So thank you for that. Oh, and it was just so much fun to experience that with you and be at that demo.
Thanks Square for doing it, not me. I mean, I'm just a part of the process of being able to, the privilege to be able to do it. It's the Japanese anime guys who are doing it, the Japanese voices who are doing it. I mean, it's an incredible thing. It's fun. It's huge. Like I said, it's epic, man. That's the only word I can give you for it. It's a big deal. For me,
at E3, I paid my homage to Square Enix because I've been a little.
Yeah, he was a little salty. Well, he didn't think we were going to get anything.
I didn't think we were going to get anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't think. I thought we may get like a new gameplay trailer or something. I had no faith that we were getting anything.
They're pushing the envelope to make sure that everybody got to play the demo on E3.
Oh yeah.
So, John, after we're done recording, go on our YouTube channel and go look at the video because we recorded it and we put it out on the web so everybody could experience Jerry's apology.
Yeah, because I did because I made a bet with all the guys before E3. Like, this is my prediction because I've been waiting for too long. It's been too many years. I don't think we're getting anything. I think we're getting maybe a trailer. And and then a few weeks later, we were after a couple more podcasts, we were asking everybody, the listeners, and trying to figure out what should my apology be if Netflix did announce something more than just a trailer.
Right.
So obviously I lost. Well, I gotta not only collector's editions.
Don't tell me. I gotta see it.
Yeah. Go see it, but
we made him do it in front of the Square Enix booth too.
Oh yeah,
with Square Enix in the background.
Oh my gosh, I gotta see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the folks over there are brilliant, man. The stuff they're creating is just brilliant.
Yeah, they've always been great storytellers. It's awesome.
Yeah, and you know they're trying to keep it. They're trying to keep it for the fans too. So I don't, like I said, words can't explain how excited I am to do it because it's something that I was heavily vested in as a youth, as a young man. So, you know, I'm blown out of the water.
Oh yeah, and everyone has been on cloud nine. Well, cloud nine. Reviewing the demo like from E3, from like E3
You mean
YouTube.
this cloud, Jerry?
Everyone's been
that
cloud.
Yeah.
Look at
Everyone's been like more than hopeful for the game. Like because after the demo, it was just, oh yeah, like I can't wait. Now I can't wait.
I was fortunate enough to do the demo twice. So
you went back in after I saw you?
So we did it on
the next day.
Oh, you went
the
next day.
Yeah,
So,
we did it again.
Because what they did was, like, when we went in, when you did it, right? They didn't scan our badges.
What?
So they started scanning badges after that because what they realized is there was a lot of people.
They're gonna find out at E3.
So they wanted to limit it to one demo per person.
Right.
For E3. So day one, they didn't scan my badge. So I'm like, cool. The second day I went in line, they scanned my badge. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'll cut it at 2. But for me, I went back the second time, to really play with the combo system and see how fast I could make those combos like FF13.
And what'd you think?
Oh man, the second I saw the ATB meter and how it builds up and everything, I'm like, that's 13.
Yep.
That's 13 right there.
Yep.
And so
I
immediately
once again took my time with the demo.
Good.
I did.
Yeah,
That's
awesome. I just find all the systems that Final Fantasy are putting into place now, the staggering, the
and staggering
slowdown time, all those systems, it does make the game feel a little bit more dynamic, and I wish I do miss the classic ATB bar where it fills up and you have the action, like the good old square soft days.
Right.
But it's now we have a lot more faster pace, which kind of fits when you switch over from Cloud, when you switch over from Barrett. You have to focus. You have to focus on the range. You have to focus on the melee. It's really good. It's a lot quicker. And
I can't wait.
Once you get used to the system.
I can't wait for Tifa, just to see how fluid she is in combat. And see how they do those. And I want to see the bigger limit breaks. Yeah. I can't wait to see those.
And
it's kind of like
the summons.
And the summons.
Remember how you can do in Mortal Kombat, you can do certain combos within gameplay that weren't finishing moves. I guess now the new one is, and you're like, oh man, it's I think that what's happening with our generation now is that we want to see more of those things. Okay, well, what happens? It's not just a repetitive thing, and so I think that's what was cool about the old one too. Remember Tifa when she did the backflip?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then show the, stuff like that was just like, oh my gosh, I didn't know she was going to do that. Let me see what else she can do. This bar gets big. So I can't wait to see a lot of things that are being done myself, and it's a cool project.
And I know there's stuff with it that you are not allowed to discuss that you are privy to. So I think come March when the game releases, we get you back on.
We have to.
And we all talk about it. Once we played it.
But here's the deal. Let me at least get 7 days of playing.
Oh, absolutely. I'm gonna want.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I'm gonna want 7 days of playing on it too.
Yeah, all of us are gonna want.
Oh yeah.
I mean, honestly, I'm gonna play it like any other Final Fantasy, and I will take my time trying to find every little thing that I can in every area as I go through it.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, the demos,
accessories, those items.
Oh yeah. And I love the fact is like you saw Cloud in the trailer, right? And you actually saw the materia slot. I love that attention to detail that they're bringing to this, that you're actually going to be able to see the slots on where your materia is going into and everything. So
tell me this, you guys saw the demo. So you remember the opening of the game, the original game.
Yep.
Where the train comes into the station and Cloud flips off of the top of the train.
Yep.
So when we
So that was a media only demo, by the way, at E3. The full thing. Yeah. You didn't get that at our demo.
No, but the original game.
Mm-hmm.
The original game, how he does it is just, but it's still kind of dark all around the edges. So you've seen the trailer since where you see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see the detail that's around him?
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah.
The lighting effects.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about,
the
Matt.
Clarity of the background where you're actually seeing the city, the train itself.
Yes. The train is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I hope they have photo mode with it. I really do. Because I want to do in-game photography with that thing.
What you laughing at, Jay?
No, because Matt's a photographer, so he would do this little like photo shoot.
I love photo mode.
Matt just pushing his hands together like, oh my goodness.
Oh yes.
Talking about that's why he wants us to stop with all the pictures.
Oh man,
it's like I'm nicking for it, man. It's like
all in all, though, I'm just glad it's coming back out. You know, it's 20 plus years that this story has been like it's been so good, you know, and you have so much character development back then. Imagine what it's going to be now. Like that's what I'm looking forward to, the story development. There are pieces of the game which I want to see all enhanced and remade, you know.
I think, Jason, to your point too, is with it coming back to, is I think both with FF7 Remake as well as Final Fantasy VIII Remaster that's coming out here in a couple months, I think it's going to restore the faith in Final Fantasy again, because honestly, as pretty as 15 was, it was not great.
It was so. I think everybody just needs to get back to the old ones that made that, like back in when Square was in its heyday.
But it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. They're telling a story, a beginning, a middle, and an end. And throughout the beginning and the middle, there's all kind of stuff happening. And from the middle to the end, there's all kind of stuff happening. That's good film. That's good storytelling.
And I think that's what makes Uncharted so good. What makes Last of Us so good. You know, Horizon. I mean, they're telling a story throughout, and I think in this day and age of instant gratification, I think people are missing out by not partaking in those experiences. They just want fast, instantaneous. Just give it to me now. So
true.
Which goes back to film and television, which is rare to find a really evenly paced, just an all-around good film and well written, not high paced or a bunch of wow scenes or CG. You know, it's rare to actually go to the movies and see a film.
Right. Let me love characters. Let me be vested in characters. Let me learn or not. Make me not like the characters. Make me go, ooh, Mufasa's cool. Oh my gosh, Scar's a jerk. But let me see the redeeming qualities in both. You know what I mean? It's just a different kind of thing that we live in, and that's why the throwbacks, so to speak, are doing so well, because they're telling a story.
And they were original for their time. When they came out. I'll tell you what's deep to me.
When I played it, I didn't get it. But when I went back to when I played Final Fantasy VII in I went, wait a minute. The stuff that's going on now. We're talking about Midgar. Okay, we're also talking about the saving the planet.
Yep.
We're talking about someone who's depleting energy sources.
A corporation.
Your corporation. Shinra. We're talking about things that are literally happening now, messing up the atmosphere. All these different lines that I say, it's like, that's deep. You think about what's going on right now. Back then, nobody was thinking about it. People were still smoking in restaurants. You know?
Yep.
Now it's like, wait a minute. Maybe we should think about health. Maybe we should think about mental health. Maybe we should. So it's pretty before its time too.
It was.
To where we are now. Perfect timing.
Yep. So, John, we got a couple of questions from a Q&A for you before we start winding things down for you. So, a buddy of ours that Jerry got to meet at Comic-Con, Josh Maldonado, who is starting an acting career as well out there. He asked, what influences did you take from the original FF7 to prepare for the remake?
The influences I took were, as far as a character study. What's his name, by the way?
Josh.
Shout out to Josh. What up, baby? Great question. Whenever I get a character, what really helps for me is to see when it's BO. I like to see a picture. Sometimes you don't get that. When you see a picture, then you go, okay, this is why he's this way. This is why he's this way. Okay, he's this particular culture, or so that helps. But as far as me, I would take sources. I would take the original. Of course, you have to go with the original. How Bo portrayed Barrett. Go, okay, I heard a little bit of it, but I didn't want to get married to it. So then I looked at Dwayne Johnson, who was one of the biggest box office stars in the world. I've had to revoice him and stuff like that. So I was like, how do I take a bit of that essence? The essence is all part of the voice. It's not just the voice. How do I take a bit of that essence? Okay, this is somebody who I respect, or this is somebody who I grew up with, or this is somebody who I know. And so I would take little elements of people that I knew, and especially being a football player, because Barrett is very physical, but he's also a leader. I would take elements and then blend them together and say, how does that sound? And I would come up with a voice. There were several different voices that I had, and I went, well, how does this sound? And then I would present that for the audition. I was able to speak to the people in Japan and say, okay, is he here, or is he here, or is he here? I gave them my 3 top choices. And they went, wait a minute, dial him back here. And we honed him in like a radio station. And I went, okay,
nice.
That's how he is. Then let's fly with that. Let's give him all.
Nice.
But with all the little elements from everybody else. That's how you hear them, but let me give you the little dynamics of them. So that's how I did it.
Well, and you kind of answered the second question I was going to ask you, which was, how do you kind of get ready to play the voice, which you kind of just already answered that question.
Nice.
So yeah, that was a nice segue into a buddy of mine, Corey, out here. He asked, what do you do to get ready to play the voice, which you pretty much just answered. Kind of take your inspiration. So, as we wind down, we have one question we always ask of our guests.
Well, first and foremost, before we go there, I just have a question, John. What was your team when you were playing the original Final Fantasy VII?
Oh, that's a good question.
Like, what was your team?
I like Barrett, Tifa, and Cloud.
Oh, okay, the straight avalanche.
Okay.
Right on.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Everybody else was cool, but those 3 got it done.
All right.
So what is your favorite game to play for game night?
For what?
When you have a game night with your family and your friends, what's your favorite game to play?
I'm in between a few right now. I love fighting games. I don't play sports games like I used to, like the 2K and the Madden. I don't play as much as I used to. I love Red Dead right now. Love it.
Oh, so good.
Yes.
It's just a good.
Yes.
When I want to
again, Red Dead, baby.
When I want to play something quick, just to get my, I'll put in Mortal Kombat when my wife's not around, because she doesn't like all the violence, because it's very quick. But I really like God of War too, man. God of War.
Nice.
It's classic. From when Tony did the voice to the one that just came out recently. Those are the games that I play, but you can never go wrong. Ever go wrong with our game, Matt.
Yeah.
What's our game?
It's our game?
What's our game? You got it all around your room.
Well, you got Uncharted.
Baby.
You got Uncharted. You got Horizon. It's my room.
With Uncharted.
Yep.
No,
absolutely not. So
that's me.
Awesome. So with that being said, John, I absolutely want to thank you for crashing game night with us tonight.
You got it, man.
Taking time out of your evening, come hanging out with us.
Thank you so much. The honor's ours, really.
To all of our listeners, if you like what you heard, as always, please leave those comments on the podcast platform of choice you're listening to us on. Don't forget to follow us on crashinggamenight.com and our Apple News channel. I want to say, everyone, be excellent to each other and stay frosty.
Yes, sir.
And I say goodbye, nerds.
Take care, y'all.
All right. There,
Bye, y'all. See you.